They laughed at him in his own house, but the only person who ever truly saw him was the maid. Before we begin, take a second to imagine this. What if the person who ignored you the most was the one you loved the deepest? And what if the one who respected you the most was someone the world barely noticed? Stay with me till the end of this story, because the last 5 minutes will change the way you see respect, love, and success forever. And if stories like this touch your heart, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because you never know which story might be the one that changes your life. Armin Shah was a billionaire by every definition of the word. At just 42, he had built a global tech empire from scratch. His company towers reflected the sky in cities across the world. Private jets waited for his command. His name appeared on magazine covers beside words like visionary and self-made legend. But inside his mansion, a sprawling palace of marble floors and crystal chandeliers, Armin Shah was invisible. His wife, Samira, had once loved him. At least that's what he believed. In the early days, when Armin was still working from a cramped apartment and eating instant noodles to save money, Samira used to hold his hand and tell him she believed in his dreams. She said she didn't care about money. She cared about him. But money changes the temperature of a room. As Armin's wealth grew, so did the distance between them. Samira became obsessed with elite parties, luxury brands, and social status. Their dining table turned into a battlefield of silence. Their conversations reduced to logistics. The charity gala is at 8. Don't forget the investor meeting. We're flying to Paris tomorrow. Their teenage son, Zion, barely looked up from his phone. He respected his father's credit card more than his father's presence. One evening, Armin came home early from work. He had cancelled an important board meeting just to surprise his family. He imagined a simple dinner, maybe laughter, maybe a conversation that wasn't about stocks or status. Instead, he walked into a loud party. Samira hadn't informed him. The house was filled with guests, influencers, businessmen's wives, socialites. Music blasted through the hallways. His wife was laughing loudly at something a young entrepreneur said, her hand resting casually on his arm. No one noticed Armin standing at the entrance. He stood there for a full minute. No one came to greet him. Finally, he quietly walked upstairs to his study. As he closed the door, he heard someone knock gently. It was Mira. Mira had been working in the Shah household for 8 years. She was in her mid-30s, soft-spoken, always respectful. She wore simple clothes, tied her hair in a neat bun, and moved through the mansion like a quiet breeze, present but rarely acknowledged. "Sir," she said softly, "I didn't know there was a party today. I'm sorry if the house is noisy." Armin forced a smile. "It's not your fault, Mira." She hesitated. "You haven't eaten, sir. Should I bring something?" That simple sentence hit him harder than any business loss ever had. "You haven't eaten." Someone noticed. He nodded. "Yes, thank you." Mira returned with a simple tray, warm dal, fresh roti, and a bowl of salad. Nothing fancy. No gold-plated cutlery. Just food made with care. As Armin ate, Mira stood by the door. "Sir," she said quietly, "I hope you don't mind me saying this, but you look tired. You work too much." Armin chuckled bitterly. "That's what everyone says. But no one asks why." Mira looked down respectfully. "Maybe you work so hard because you want your family to be happy." He froze. That was exactly why. For years, he had believed that success was the language of love. That the bigger the house, the deeper the affection. That the more zeros in the bank, the stronger the bond. But tonight, surrounded by noise downstairs and silence upstairs, he wasn't so sure anymore. Days turned into weeks. The emotional distance in the house grew. Samira started traveling alone more often. Zion spent nights out with friends. Armin found himself eating alone in his study more frequently. And every night, Mira would knock softly. "Sir, dinner. Sir, tea. Sir, you should rest." She never overstepped, never spoke out of place. But her respect was consistent, genuine. One rainy afternoon, Armin overheard something that shattered him completely. He was about to enter the living room when he heard Samira speaking to a friend. "I swear," she laughed, "Armin is so boring now. All he talks about is work. If it weren't for his money, I don't know how I'd survive this marriage." Her friend replied, "At least he's useful." Useful. Armin stood frozen behind the wall. Useful. Not loved. Not admired. Not valued. Useful. That night, he didn't go upstairs. He sat alone in the garden, rain soaking his suit. For the first time in decades, he felt small. Mira noticed the lights still on outside. She found him sitting there, drenched. "Sir." She rushed forward, holding an umbrella over him. "You'll get sick." He looked at her, really looked at her, and saw genuine concern in her eyes. "Mira," he whispered, "what does respect mean to you?" She was startled by the question. "Respect, sir, is when someone sees your effort. When they value your presence, even if you have nothing." "Even if you have nothing," he repeated. She nodded. "My father was a schoolteacher. We were poor, but my mother respected him like he was a king. Because he tried. Because he cared." Armin felt a lump in his throat. In that moment, he realized something powerful: respect is not bought. It is earned through character, not currency. Weeks later, Armin made a decision that shocked everyone. He announced he was stepping down as CEO for a year. The media went crazy. Investors panicked. Samira was furious. "What are you doing?" she shouted. "Do you know what this will do to our image?" Armin replied calmly, "I'm tired of being useful. I want to be human." He started spending time volunteering anonymously at community centers. He invested in employee welfare programs. He visited old friends he had neglected. At home, things became tense. Without the constant spotlight of business glamour, Samira seemed restless. Arguments increased. Finally, one evening, she said the words he had feared. "I want a separation." Armin felt pain, but not shock. "Okay," he said quietly. The divorce was civil but cold. Zion chose to live with his mother. The mansion felt emptier than ever. Except for one thing. Mira was still there. One day, Armin called her into his study. "Mira," he began, "you've worked here for years. You've shown more loyalty and respect than anyone else in my life. I've decided to fund your education." Her eyes widened. "Sir, you once told me your dream was to become a teacher like your father. I want to help you do that." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "Why would you do this for me?" Armin smiled gently. "Because you respected me when I had everything, and when I had nothing." Over the next few years, Mira completed her studies. She left the mansion to teach at a small school for underprivileged children, a school funded quietly by Armin. Armin never remarried, but he transformed. He built foundations that focused on dignity, not publicity. He reconnected with his son slowly, not through gifts, but through conversations. It took time, years, but eventually, Zion began to see his father not as a wallet, but as a man. One evening, Armin attended the annual function at Mira's school. Children performed on stage. Parents clapped proudly. The hall was modest, but filled with warmth. Mira stood on stage and said, "Years ago, someone taught me that respect is the greatest wealth. Today, I try to teach that lesson to every child here." She looked at Armin in the audience. Their eyes met. In that silent exchange was gratitude, dignity, and something deeper than love, mutual respect. Armin realized something profound. The world may measure you by your success, but the right people measure you by your soul. He had been ignored by love, but respected by a maid. And in the end, that respect rebuilt him. If this story moved you even a little, pause for a moment. Think about the people in your life who truly respect you, not for what you have, but for who you are. Value them. Because one day, when the noise fades and the lights dim, respect will be the only thing that remains. If you believe respect is more powerful than wealth, like this video. Share it with someone who needs to hear this today. And subscribe to the channel for more stories that remind us what truly matters in life. Because sometimes, the most unexpected people teach us the most important lessons.